Okay, it's Monday, August 5th, and we will call this regular city council meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Deb.
Harley.
Here.
Brad.
Here.
Rodney.
Here.
Jessica. Here. Don.
Here.
Kathy. Here.
Thank you. Entertain a motion then to approve today's agenda.
Move to approve.
With one amendment.
Okay.
Agenda item number 19, we need to just take that off of the agenda, the street closure request for Overmeyer Drive.
Move to approve the amended agenda.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes. Don.
Yes.
Kathy. Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Across the mayor's desk, I'd like to thank Cindy Casey. She's our videographer today. And the Cassuth County Fair has concluded this past weekend, so I just want to thank everyone who participated in any way. And congratulations to all the winners in all the many categories that were there. The Queen candidates, for example, livestock, the 4-H, and auto racing. And then this Wednesday the 7th of August, is the final party in the park from 5:30 to 7:30. And that's at the Carnegie Library lawn. And the theme is, It's a Marvelous Day. And Homegrown Harmonies are a local group that will be entertaining. So this will be the final party in the park also. So, council have anything they'd like to share? Okay, hearing none, we'll update from city administrator.
Mainly wanted to share an update on the status of the Central Park Splash Pad project. So last week, the state inspector was up and we had the splash pad up and running and tested. There's a few items from that inspection that need to be addressed, which are underway. But right now, kind of what we're waiting on is the programming for the computers for the filter system, and then getting our staff trained on that. So we're opening Splash Pad up here later this month. We do have a ribbon cutting and donor appreciation event scheduled for Friday, August 23rd. That'll be Friday chamber coffee at 9:30 at Central Park. We anticipate, the Splash Pad will open probably that week before, but we're waiting to hold that official opening date until we get a little bit closer. But once we do get that determined, we'll get the news out to let everyone know when kind of the first splash event will be in advance of that. But we're having kind of a formal ribbon cutting and accepting appreciation for the chamber coffee on August 23rd at 9:30 at Central Park. And people might have seen for a while, it looks like it's done, but all the work that's been doing has been on the inside with all the mechanicals, the filters, the UV, the treatment. So it may look like nothing's going on, but inside that building there's been a lot of activity. So we're excited to get that here open this month.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 7, citizens' opportunity to address the council, and there isn't anyone in the council chambers this evening, so we'll move to the consent agenda, which includes approving the minutes from our July 15th work session and a regular session, approving the bills to be paid this cycle, and approve a Class C retail alcohol license for Cinco de Mayo. Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Harley, second from Jessica. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes. Don.
Yes.
Kathy. Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Agenda item number 9 is public hearing, and it is 5:13. We will open this public hearing regarding issuance of sewer revenue capital loan note.
So this public hearing is on the proposed issuance of the 2024 B series sewer revenue bonds up to $21,270,060. This would be through the Iowa Finance Authority, the Water Quality Financing Program. Expenses would only be eligible for the nutrient reduction elements of the 2024 wastewater treatment improvement project. So the $30 million that we approved borrowing for previously, this is a subset of that, not in addition to. So this is a public hearing on that proposed authorization and issuance. We have not received any objections or public comments in response to the notice.
Okay. It's 5:14. We will close this public hearing and we'll move on to new business agenda item number 10. This is a second reading of an ordinance concerning the city's sanitary sewer rate ordinance.
This ordinance addresses how customers either without a separate meter for their or without metered water usage and or located outside city limits are billed. Currently, under our ordinance, if a customer does not have a meter and they're in city limits, they're just identified a flat charge. Under the proposed ordinance, we would estimate the amount of water used and then use that to calculate based on billing rate at that time. So instead of just being a flat amount, it's an amount that adjusts over time as our usage rates increase. And then the second section of the ordinance addresses customers outside city limits. Currently have just one or two of these, and we have two which are later on the agenda that are interested in connecting to the city, and we thought it was important to really kind of put down in the city code what the expectations and requirements are for property owners interested in making that connection. So this ordinance was based on our most recent sewer agreement that we did for outside city limits back in 2007. But this would put in the city code officially what that is. But under the proposed ordinance amendment, billing rate for customers outside city limits for the service administration fee and the infrastructure fee, they would be charged ×2 the standard rate, and then the usage fee would be based on their actual usage or the estimated amount in accordance with the previous section. And then with that, the owners located outside city limits would have to agree to voluntary annex into the city if and when the council were to ever to pursue that annexation.
With that explanation, I move that we waive the first or the second reading.
Second.
We have a motion from Marley, second from Don to waive the second reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Irving?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Jessica? Yes. Don?
Yes.
Kathy? Yes.
Motion carried. Move to approve the second reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the second reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Harvey?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Jessica? Yes. Don?
Yes.
Kathy? Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Agenda item number 11 is the first reading of an ordinance pertaining to signs and awnings.
We have noticed around town that our current ordinance, I guess, states that you're allowed one sign per side of the building. And we've noticed around town that doesn't happen, and larger buildings are plenty large to have two signs. So we're looking at amending our ordinance to allow for signage on a side of a building up to 150 square feet or 10% of the facade of the building, whichever is less. So you've got 1,000 square foot building, you can have about 100 square feet of signage. And our current sign limits you to one sign. This would allow you however many signs you could get up to that amount. Most businesses have two. You know, if they have a branded sign and their name sign.
We've seen this pop up a lot, like, in not, you know, in just the highway districts, but in downtown, where if you've got multiple businesses within the same building, you know, technically scale on one wall sign. And so it's okay, well, how do we, and we have plenty of them where we have more than one. And so it's kind of a technical fix on how we allow those without allowing signs to, you know, over dominate. An example would be like out on Highway 18. You know, the strip mall is there, obviously they have more than one sign. You know, Forge and Build and Bolton and Make's office, you know, they're one building, but you know, multiple units within, to provide clarity in terms of having more than one wall sign, and then trying to figure out kind of where that, the appropriate kind of form and level of regulation of kind of signs along the highway versus signs in the downtown in terms of their size and how much of the building they cover. Want to make sure downtown's kind of pedestrian scale. So that's kind of, I guess, the prompt for this ordinance. And I never like to bring anything to council that we haven't previously discussed in a work session or at least in committee. But why this one is kind of those circumstances is we ran into a property that's looking at being redeveloped, and they're looking at our sign ordinance and realized we had this. Something that we don't, I guess, have a concern with multiple signs on one side of the building when it makes sense. And again, with it, you know, being a certain percentage of the building, but trying to figure out a way that we can make that more practical from an owner standpoint, even though it's something that we see pretty common already. So there was kind of two versions of the ordinance prepared. One, option A, which probably won't just let you go through that.
Option A, we added a few options to the ordinance. We changed item B on the ordinance where it says area number. It would say wall signs shall not exceed the lesser of 150 square feet in area or cover more than 10% of the building face in which it is located. Then we also added an item D. It says a permit may be issued for a larger sign not to exceed 10% of the building face in areas zoned highway service business, light manufacturing, or heavy manufacturing if the following three provisions are met. Basically, you have to be within setback over 1,000 feet from the center line on Highway 18 north or south. So just to throw a for instance out there, if Hormel wanted to put signage up on their building, as far back as they are, a 150 square foot sign would be kind of small to be able to read. So they could apply for a permit to have a larger sign since they're back that far. That is version A. Version B, we only changed item B. So it states wall signs shall not exceed the lesser of 150 feet in area or cover more than 10% of the building face in which it's located. We took the provision out for Highway 18 and over, you know, being over 1,000 feet away from the center line.
And our current ordinance, based on the width of the building, it kind of scales up. So we don't, shall not exceed 50 square feet in area for every 25 feet of frontage of the building. And so that's what we're trying to, since we're going away from that method of kind of how do we still right size it but accommodate the highway, which is why we came up with that Highway 18 section, which is, I think we borrowed kind of that format, was it from Webster City?
Yeah, Webster City had that for a long Highway 20.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
What would be the harm in not having the highway and stuff? At the beginning?
It's more kind of with our it's kind of how far do you want to go? It's kind of just make the technical fix, but then where do we draw that line? Because our sign ordinance itself could just go for a comprehensive review and overhaul. We were need to clarify some of those things, and so one of those things that kind of just came up based on a project, and we're trying to, okay, what's the best way to kind of address it? Do we just try to make a fix just to fix that issue, or try to, dive into, I guess, the broader topic of the sign ordinance without wanting to turn this into like a 3-month study? We've kind of got one that's, ready to move on a building permit to have multiple signs for multiple, in that case, it's multiple businesses in one structure.
So wouldn't we want A, I guess, in my mind, I don't know, only ask because the business district, if we ever sell anything out of the industrial park, at least then we have some stipulation of signage for that on Highway 18. I'm just asking, but it seems like we want that, but.
That way we don't have to dig into this again.
Yeah, I mean, we've got land to sell that goes right on Highway 18 there.
Part of, a future more comprehensive review of our sign ordinance, if we wanted to, add more in terms of, but not to exceed amount, or put some other formula in there, we could, but, yeah, since we're doing away with the 25 or 50 square feet for every 25 linear feet of building, this would kind of provide that, I guess, fill that, regulatory gap of, okay, now if you want to build something at 18, how do you build a sign that can actually be seen from the roadway?
I think some companies like Casey's and the dollar stores out there, their whole building is a sign that people recognize, so they figured it out.
Yeah, with the different colors, but yeah. I don't know, I think if we're doing it, I'm in favor of A, but I don't know if the rest of the council thinks.
I think so.
I agree.
I think a motion, we waive the first reading for ordinance amendment option A.
Second.
Motion from Rodney, second from Jessica. Any other discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harding.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes. Don.
Yes.
Kathy. Yes.
Motion carried to waive that first reading.
Motion to approve the first reading of ordinance amendment option A.
Second.
Motion from Rodney, second from Jessica to approve. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harding.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes. Don.
Yes.
Kathy. Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Agenda item number 12 is a resolution pertaining to the sewer revenue capital loan note that we talked about earlier.
My mouse is having issues. So this resolution approves the proceedings to move forward with authorizing a loan disbursement for the $21,270,060. The proposed interest rates on this would be half of what our standard SRF rate fund would be, so that's at 2.5%, so we'd be looking at 1.25% for a 20-year term. On this up to approximately $21 million in debt. So this resolution approves the next step, and there will be, I believe, one more resolution before council where we finally do close.
Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion from Ronnie, second from Don to approve this resolution. That'll save us $3 million in interest payments.
Didn't think it was too hard to move forward.
Yeah, there you go. Vote please, Deb.
Harding.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes. Don.
Yes.
Kathy. Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 13 is a resolution concerning the Algona Municipal Airport Runway Project.
Last spring, we approved to apply for a grant to the FAA for Phase 2 of the runway project in the amount of $2,128,230. I was notified last week that we are approved for the grant, So this makes it official that we're accepting the grant money. The project will begin sometime next summer. Some of it might begin in the middle of summer, but most of it will be in the fall during doing the concrete work and the new lighting. They do need to put in new electrical transformer and stuff out there. That might happen a little bit earlier, but most of it will not happen until after August 30th next fall.
And part of the reason for how we timed this was just to give them plenty of lead time to get the electrical components ordered and all the lighting. So with the execution of this grant agreement, then the construction contract that the city had approved with Voltmer Inc. of Decorah for the actual construction back on June 3rd, that was contingent upon us getting this grant and executing it, so then that construction contract go into effect.
Have a good one. Take care, buddy.
So overall, the total project cost, this includes the design, bidding, construction administration, inspections, and construction itself is $2,364,700. The city is responsible for a 10% share of that, $236,470. And then it will include the extending the south runway by approximately 200 feet. Shifting the runway a little bit in terms of the markings, and then upgrade electrical components, lighting as well.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Molly, second from Don to approve this. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Carmen?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Jessica? Yes. Don?
Yes.
Kathy? Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 14 is a resolution concerning our city taxi bus.
So that city taxi is available through us through a partnership with the North Iowa Area Council of Governments, NIACOG. City leases the taxi from NIACOG for $1 a year, which they're able to do that being subsidized through a federal grant. And then the operating costs between the city and NIACOG are split. So this resolution simply renews that new annual agreement. And just some fun facts on our rides for the last fiscal year. The city provided 5,616 rides. That's an average of 468 a month. Or if you look at approximately just your average working days per month, a little over 22 rides per day. So it has a pretty significant impact and a wide user base here for that service.
50% of the cost, just off the top of your head, do we know what it costs us a year? $1, but I mean, just,
Off the top of
Our
the
expenses per year.
yeah, it's operating for our 50% of the taxi.
The total budget, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, or at least our half, just,
For
Out of
expenses.
I'd have to look
Okay.
that up.
Yeah, we have to look at
when I saw this, I thought, oh, we only pay $1 a year, but then we split the cost 50-50, so.
So basically, we don't have to pay for a giant truck.
Exactly. Yeah.
They handle the maintenance too then, right?
that.
Okay. Okay, just have it.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Don, second from Kathy to approve this agreement with NIACOG. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Carmen?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Jessica? Yes. Don?
Yes.
Kathy? Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 15 is a resolution approving a sanitary sewer service agreement.
I'll discuss 15 and 16 jointly since they deal with the same matter. Both of our properties out in Country Club Estates that are not in the city limits that desire to connect to the city sanitary service. So under this resolution approves an agreement for Timothy McNerney at 109 Robinson Drive, allowing him to connect his property to the city sanitary sewer utility with the conditions outlined in the agreement. Requires McNerney to pay for all the costs related to the installation of the sewer line and pay all applicable sewer tap fees. Requires that disconnection and abandonment of any existing septic systems. And then must pay monthly sewer charges in accordance with City Code Chapters 1312, which we're in the process of amending, which under the amendment underway, the monthly charge for the service administration will be 200% of the regular rate, infrastructure fee 200% of the regular rate, and the usage fee based on the actual usage, as well as requires that the voluntary annexation agreement, that the property automatically agrees to voluntary annexation if and when the city decides to pursue annexation of that property in the future. So it's the same conditions for the next agenda item to Charles and Sarah Colash, 9 Country Club Road.
The one difference is McNerney will have a water meter, so his bill will be based on his actual water usage. Colash's will not, so it'll be based on estimated usage of a family household of 2.
Move to approve resolution number 15.
Second.
Motion from Don, second from Kathy. Any discussion?
I just mentioned, we discussed it in streets and sewer, and I feel more comfortable after that discussion, but I do think there's a time in the near future with the other side already being annexed, that we gotta really look at that.
I've been telling them guys out there for a long time, but I've already seen we're gonna annex them.
I'm not saying since we got them here, we need to do it right away, but I think there's a time in the near future that just needs to be part of the city. We gotta really
If
look
this
at
is
that.
gonna start coming in like this, it's
Yeah.
to the road and all that.
But I'm glad we did the resolution, we got it set, but I do think there's a time that needs to start happening.
And the city was 07 was the last time we did a formal annexation study, kind of looking at the areas and what would be required if we were to full on annex those. With it being involuntary annexation, in most of the scenarios, in that case, we're responsible within 3 years providing on utilities extensions out there. That's where it gets, kind of cost prohibitive. But it could be something we certainly look at in terms of an annexation study or kind of planning our infrastructure longer term, assuming that, properties like these might want to turn to the city once, things like wells and private drives and roads and septic systems start to go under.
And on that point, we have 2 properties out there who have to voluntarily annex if we want it. If you're looking at a larger area like the Robinson Drive area, it's really hard to annex in an area where you don't have a majority of the people wanting to annex. You end up in court spending a lot of money, and most of the time you lose.
Any other discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes. Don.
Yes.
Kathy. Yes.
Motion carried. That was on agenda item number 15. And then again, we should vote on agenda item number 16 as well.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Don, second from Brad. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes. Don.
Yes.
Kathy. Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 17 is to approve a change order on the wastewater treatment facility improvements.
I won't go in depth because we did discuss this during the work session, but this is change order number 1 for the 2024 wastewater project. It's a net increase of $7,064. Change order includes removing electrical service extension to the police shooting range as a deduct, replacing the east and southwest fence in lieu of removal and reinstall of the existing fence based on its condition, and then adding an internal drop to one of the sanitary manholes within the facility.
Move to approve change order.
Second.
Motion from Don, second from Jessica to approve this change order. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes. Don.
Yes.
Kathy. Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 18 approves the McGregor Street bike lanes, signage, and pavement markings.
So this project kind of stems from kind of two different areas of previous discussion. One being concerns from some residents on East McGregor Street regarding the speed and volume of vehicles. Back in 2021 and 2020, when we studied that area, we identified a number of changes in terms of the signage where that was placed, adding additional speed sign, pedestrian signs, upsizing those, doing the high visibility crosswalks, and then kind of the next tier of improvements was doing some striping or pavement markings to give the illusion of a narrower lane as a traffic calming measure. And then when we've been looking at kind of our long-term recreational trail and how that connects, when we did community visioning back in 2022, 2023, they identified McGregor Street as kind of one of our key connecting corridors, as well as what we heard on those surveys is East McGregor Street. There's already a lot of bicyclists that use it. And so this would kind of be formalizing some of, and adding markings for how it's already used. So what the plan calls for on just the East McGregor Street, so this is from Highway 169 East, is that we would have designated bike lanes 5.5 feet wide on either side, and then with that a 2-foot striped buffer, and then 2 10-foot driving lanes in either direction. There's no vertical elements with this project, so large equipment, they can drive and extend beyond that without any issue. And then adding the bike lane logo. This section of the road is 35 feet wide. When we get to South Main Street, the road transitions down to 28 feet. And so at that point, we would eliminate the designated bike lanes and instead just have paved shoulders 3.5 feet in from the edge of the road, again, giving that visual cue of the narrower lane. And then instead of having a designated bike lane, we would have a signs posted of, this is the latest recommendation from the MUTCD in terms of this style of signage. It's the bicycle logo in the diamond, and then the in-road underneath it. So it's no longer share the road or on road, it's now in-road with the bicycle logo. So then that would continue from South Main east to Finn Drive, where there it turns into the county road afterwards. We also are in the process of design work on West McGregor Street. That one's a little more complicated just in terms of the options on kind of East McGregor Street with the widths and the infrastructure we have there. It's kind of going to do so much. With West McGregor, we do plan to add bike lanes to that. That's so we're doing some design work because there's about 6 blocks where it's 42 foot wide and allows on-street parking. So where do we have that parking? How do we do that shift? And we want to reach out to some of the stakeholder entities along that route to get their input. There's a way to do it, but different options, considerations for that. So likely that one won't be done until 2025. But the goal with at least moving forward with the East McGregor striping and signage plan is we would get that striped and in place here before the school year starts. And then moving forward on this, as well as the Diagonal Street bike lane, and eventually West McGregor, the street department, we buy our own equipment and paint ourselves, and then basically trace the lines, saving us a good deal of money in terms of the contracting work. In the past, just do we have enough of it to buy the equipment to do it ourselves? This would put us over that threshold. And then too, the other advantage of that, and we, as much as we can, based on what Mother Nature throws at us, but more dictate our timeline in terms of getting those done earlier in the year, as opposed to usually they're kind of later in the summer. So we can hit those, in the spring, early summer. So they're freshly painted for a longer use throughout kind of the warmer months.
So was there different kinds of paint you could buy, or it seems like some are durable, Seems if I spill any paint on her driveway, it lasts forever. But you know, you put it on the highway, it doesn't last very long.
We buy our paint directly from the DOT, so it's exactly the same paint they stripe the roads with.
Okay.
There is different paint you can get that's a lot more expensive. It's got glass chips in it, so it's reflective and everything, but it's a lot more expensive.
We did another project trying oil-based paint instead of a water-based paint, and we ran some issues with that in terms of the cost to go back and redo that, and then our paint equipment getting mixed up with different types, so we've gone back and just we're having all the same kind of standard in that terms of not messing with that. You know, there are some, you know, depending on the high usage of it, you know, if we could grind areas out, just so it, you know, it's a little bit rougher surface that it attaches to. But for now, we would just stripe this, and some of it, you know, depending on how we see it working out, we might tweak some things over time. But at least would give us a good, you know, a really good plan, you know, for the East McGregor to get put in place as we kind of figure out West McGregor bike lanes as well.
Would certainly help a lot if we could control the timeline a little better and have it put down earlier in the spring.
The painter is supposed to be in yet this fall and paint this. They're the same painter that does the school crossing ahead signs on the highway and such. So they will paint this and diagonal straight when they're in town, and then next spring, the street guys can do it themselves.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion from Harley, second from Kathy, to approve the bike lanes, the signage, and the pavement markings on East McGregor. Any other discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes. Don.
Yes.
Kathy. Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Move to agenda item number 20. This is to approve a pay application for the Central Park Improvements Project.
Pay application number 8 from Bob Becker Construction in the amount of $237,506. This is for materials stored and work completed from June 1st through July 11th. The balance to finish, including retainage, is $197,511.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion from Rodney, second from Brad. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes. Don.
Yes.
Kathy. Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 21. This is the final notification, terms expiring and appointments to the Cemetery Board. Jamie Lentz and Sharon Menkes, terms both expire August the 11th, and both have agreed to serve again on the Cemetery Board, which is a 6-year term. So I would recommend their reappointment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Rodney, second from Jessica. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes. Don.
Yes.
Kathy. Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. And thank you for willingness to serve. And the final item on our published agenda, this is the concerns the Airport Commission, and this is the second notification of Airport Commissioner Bill Stroman's term expiring August 23rd. So again, this is just the second notification. So, and before we adjourn, I do want to thank Chief Bo Miller for being at the City Council meeting today. So it is 5:47, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.